Before the Ranger Creed is recited by a formation of Rangers at any ceremony, you will always hear the narrator say this: "Will all Rangers, past and present, please join us as we recite the Ranger Creed?" Every Ranger will stand, and as they say those six stanzas, they are transformed back to a time when they had the pleasure and the burden of this brotherhood. That feeling is hard to describe. However, it's one that never leaves you. It's a connection that spans the globe, and oh, fuck. Wow. See? I don't do this very often, but I actually fucked up the fucking intro. All right, I'm going to start over from the top. All right, my bad. Wow, that's weird, especially that part. Okay. Before the Ranger Creed is recited by a formation of Rangers at any ceremony, you will always hear the narrator say this: "Will all Rangers, past and present, please join us as we recite the Ranger Creed?" Every Ranger will stand, and as they say those six stanzas, they are transformed back to a time when they had the pleasure and the burden of this brotherhood. That feeling is hard to describe. However, it's one that never leaves you. It's a connection that spans the globe and can be reignited when you hear the phrase, "Hey, Ranger, what battalion you from?" Amongst this formation, there are Rangers that stand out. They are legends of this elite organization, and when their names are spoken, people instantly have a story and for a moment relive it. Legends of the 75th podcast wants to capture that feeling and those stories. We want to ensure that these legends' triumphs and sacrifices never fade away. So sit back with your favorite adult beverage and listen to stories from the Legends of the 75th. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Legends of the 75th podcast. Man, we got a fucking phenomenal episode here, okay? So this individual not only served in Ranger Regiment, what rank did you serve up to? I forgot, Danny.
E6. I was a staff sergeant when I
E6.
left.
So not only was he a staff sergeant in Ranger Regiment up at the wonderful 275, but then he went over and he was a Night Stalker as an officer and as a warrant officer. Never have we ever done this in Legends. I cannot believe we're going to sit down and we're going to have this conversation. Plus, we get an amazing perspective. You're the first pilot we've had on, not only growing up in the Ranger Regiment, but then also for years, all through the GWAT, supporting Rangers and everybody else and, flying us all over the world. It's going to be pretty amazing. So if you don't know who Danny Archer is, he served 27 years total. Started out in 275 in 1996. He spent 14 years as a pilot at 160th SOAR, up through the rank of major. Then he reverted back to being a warrant officer because they were like, "Hey, as an officer, man, you're going to have to sit behind a fucking desk." And he's like, "Peace that, fuck that. I want to fly. I want to get after it." So he did another 7.5 years as a warrant officer. Also, he can fly. He's certified to fly every aircraft that 160th SOAR has in their arsenal. And he's been awarded, listen to this part, ladies and gentlemen, Legion of Merit, Distinguished Flying Cross, and 4 Air Medals with Valor. Danny, we've known each other for a long time, man. I'm glad that we got reconnected, but it is an absolute fucking honor, man, to sit down on the podcast and talk to you today, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And I appreciate it. Honestly, I was pretty nervous because luckily you're wearing a hat. 'Cause I was pretty intimidated by that cartoon character hair you got.
The hearing's gone, the joints are gone, the ED. Well, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Everything
no,
else
what's
is
funny
done.
is literally it was your hair that forced me to like, dude, shoot you that message. Because I'm like, who gets cartoon character hair whenever they retire?
I know, I know. I lucked out, and it got gray like really early. But my grandfather, when he died with a full head of hair, but it was fully gray. So I've been graying since I was like 12 years old. So I mean, it is what it is. But you're freaking beating me now. So well, well, Danny, before I kind of get started, we start talking about your career, man. Was there anything when I was kind of doing that intro that, kind of any emotion or any thoughts that were kind of spurred? I know a lot of times people kind of have a reaction to it.
I mean, it's kind of odd to hear. I mean, I know that I'm a little bit of a unicorn, right?
Yeah,
It's it was never my intention to even stay in the military as long as I did.
right.
Like I was a baseball player in college, hoped to get signed. Didn't happen. I had like a midlife crisis at 22. And that was it. I went to the recruiter, was like, I just need to get out of here and go get the shit kicked out of me. Asked me what an airborne ranger was. I'm like, I don't know, Breakfast Club. I want to be an airborne ranger. That's what I remembered. And he showed me a video, and I was like, all right. So, you know, got in, fell in love with it. Originally was just on the back then, whenever they would give us 3-year contracts.
Right.
Did that, then it was up to right about the end. I mean, it was exactly what I needed. So re-enlisted for 6 years,
Yeah.
and then, just kept going.
Yeah. Okay. So what was some of your experience, when you first got to Ranger Regiment? I mean, you said you were a little older. You were
I was
22 when, yeah,
23 whenever I
23 when
joined.
you got to Ranger Regiment. So
Yep.
you're a little older than the average bear, but what was some of your experiences? What company were you in also? I don't
I was
remember.
in Charlie Company
Oh, Charlie Company. All right.
the whole time.
The whole time.
Bushmasters. Yep.
Bushmasters.
Third platoon,
Oh, they're
third
not,
squad.
okay. They're not the Bushmasters anymore, by the way.
Of course not. That building's not even there anymore.
Yeah, I know. I know. The Bushmasters. Huh. I wonder when they changed over. I actually don't know the answer to that question.
I think that was honestly just our squad name
Oh,
whenever I showed
that's
up.
right. Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, it's the Scallywags now. So, okay.
That's a
That
good name.
yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember who came up with that. So, awesome. Well, so you did your time from, 96 to 2001, and before 2001, you'd already started kind of your flight packet, if I assume right.
So I was over in Jordan whenever the USS Cole got bombed, and it
Okay.
looked like we were going to go do a NEO.
Right.
And, at that point, I was the senior squad leader, acting platoon sergeant.
Okay.
And, you know, it looked like we were going to do this thing, and all of a sudden they shut us down. I was a little frustrated. Uh, I had college, and the 160th was there with us.
Mm.
So, I was like, look, while we have all these elements, let's do like Kate's briefs for the guys. Have all these different elements come in and just tell people what's available. And the 160th was there. I had contemplated it. Had my platoon leader go and schedule an interview. And so sat down with the company commander and the battalion commander, got, bullshitted however long, and then got a letter of recommendation, came back, took my AFAST, and then flight physical, did an OCS packet, put it in. I got picked up.
Yeah.
And so what do you think happened whenever I was in OCS?
Well, September 11th.
September 11th and week 12 of 14.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it was literally the nightmare that everybody, like, hey, you're going to go to school and everybody's going to go and get their shit, right? That was back
Yep.
then when nobody had combat scrolls except for the Somali dudes or the or the old time like grenade raider type,
Yep.
right?
Or a few
Uh,
that into Mogadishu. Yep.
that's right. So, uh, so I'm in there, and the towers are going down, and I'm like, I had a small group leader, and honestly, he grabbed me because I was just like, dude, I need to get the fuck out of here. Like,
Right. Yeah.
and I had Miles Halo on, and we were doing like an MRE and water resupply, and it's ridiculous. And they're like Rangers and Special Forces, they're jumping in like all this, and I'm like, dude. So I'm like, hey man, I gotta leave. And
Yep.
he's like, look, you left for a reason. You're an aviation officer with no wings right now. That's where you're at. He's
Yeah.
like, as an 11 Bravo trying to go back, you'll never get this again. He's like, you left for a reason. Let it play out. That war's not going anywhere.
Well, it was very smart of him.
And I was like, he's like, just play the long game. And I go, okay.
That,
So I
that
went
made
back,
it. Yeah.
and, it was TDY return. So, like, that was back, it was a huge segregation between enlisted and officer. Now I come back as a butterbar. And, of course, I was a squad leader. They moved my stuff out of the squad leader room to the Joe's room. And I come in for PT, go into the room. Like, I talked to, so Dave McDowell was the guy that I gave my squad to. He was my alpha team leader.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, no, your stuff's in there. I'm like, all right, new guys, never seen them before because I was gone. Of course, they had a big turnover whenever I was gone. I'm in PTs, and everyone's like, oh, Danny, hey, what's up? Oh, man, congratulations. And then the reality. Uh, sir, never dealt with that before, never thought about it. Dude, I'm like, dude, I don't care. I'm still Danny. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Now the platoon, there's like, oh, hey, Danny, you want to go to breakfast? Like, oh, like, it's Joe, it's Mike, like.
Mm.
I'm just like, whoa, this is really weird, right? Got to experience walking across the quad to the chow hall and guys just spacing out every 5 feet all the way across.
Yeah.
But it was there to uh, flight school and then watch the war kicking off in flight school, and you know, it was kind of awful, honestly. There was a whole
Yeah.
group of us. There was probably 8 to 10 of us, I would say.
Hmm.
I was the only commissioned dude. Everybody else was warrants. And I put my packet in. And you know, I, instruments was difficult because, it's needles and all this and whatever. And they contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm going to schedule your assessment." And I was like, "Holy shit."
And this
Okay.
is assessment for what?
The 160th.
Yeah,
So I
for the
did it.
160th. Okay.
Yeah, I did it right out of flight school.
Yeah.
And so I went up there, was a Black Hawk guy out of flight school, did an assessment. Look, I'm out of flight school. How good do you think it went? But, you know, they asked me, they're like, "So why do you think we would want you to show up?" And I go, "I already know the ground. You teach me the air, and I'll be an asset to the unit
Right.
because I know a ton of people. I can speak the language. I can help,
Integrate.
collect."
Yep.
And honestly, that was exactly what happened. I mean, seriously, there wasn't probably my first direct action mission, first deployment, Winter Strike '03.
Oh, okay.
Over there doing the things, but my first flying position was that summer in '04. Plug in my first DA. I'm like, oh shit, no idea what it's going to be like. The guerrilla package going to some place up in
Yeah.
northeast Afghanistan, and I hear the team leader plug in, and sure as shit, dude, this is my entire 160th career.
Yeah.
Hey, team leader is plugged in on board, Sergeant Jackson. And I go, "Jeff?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "It's Archer, dude." He's like, "What?" So, he was a squad leader up in first platoon.
Right.
I was a squad leader in third platoon.
Yeah.
And seriously, the whole time to the target,
Just
just
bullshit.
bullshitting.
Yeah.
Like, and then like probably 5 minutes out, we're like, "Hey, we probably should like get locked in."
Yeah.
And that was literally my career every time.
Yeah.
First face to face with like, with the guys up at Bragg. We're in the compound, with my flight lead, and he's like, "Hey, sir, I'll just do the talking. We're just going to set up iterative training. We're going to, set up how this is going to go and stuff." I'm like, "Okay." Walk in, dude. It's 275 all over the place. The guy he's doing his face to face with is Skip Soderholm, a guy we were in the same squad together. And he's just sitting there and like taking his notes. And then he looks at Jason, and then he looks up at me, and he looks down, he looks back up, and I go, "What's up, motherfucker?" And they're like, "Oh, dude, it was like, it was so many dudes, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm a lieutenant, maybe a captain at that point.
Yeah.
And it was just people like, "Who is this dude? How does he know everybody?" Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, hell, overseas, like, back whenever we were co-shared
Yeah.
in Iraq, right across the hallway, and like, I mean, it was awesome because what it did is that
Yeah.
like
Just,
this,
yeah.
everybody's hanging out in the
We could
planning
have
cell.
real conversations. I mean,
Yeah, dude. You know what? It made it dude. Do you know how awesome it was to, like do an infill and hear the guy on the radio and know exactly who it is because all of a sudden now everybody's intermingled. Dude,
yeah.
that was the power. That's why we needed to do that.
Yeah.
We had poof, man, it just started. And we had so many Rangers that came over. And it was awesome because it just helped unite the ground and the air element together, because it's good that we have the mutual respect. But whenever
Yeah.
awesome, you know?
Yeah. No, it was awesome. The only time I remember like just kind of having a real funny moment when I got on, plugged in and same thing. And he's like, "This is Roop." And I'm like,
Yeah, Chris, exactly.
yeah, I'm like, "Oh, fuck no, you're not flying me." Like, I'm getting the hell off this, get off this aircraft. I know this.
Yeah.
He's a terrible pilot. I'm just
But
kidding.
honestly, it was
I
so,
love it, by the way. I had to
no,
give him,
no, dude, I know. I would talk mad shit to him too. It was fun.
yeah, yeah. But yeah,
You,
because he smoked the fuck out of me over in Bico all the fucking time, and I don't even remember why. He hated me for some reason.
but I remember you as like a joke because like when did you get the regiment?
98. Yeah, yeah.
So what was I an E5 already?
You would have been, yeah, you would have been. And I don't remember what course you and I did together. I fucking can't remember what course it was, but there was a course and Congdon and
Was it one of the demo MTTs or
yeah,
something like that?
it might have been a demo course. It was a demo course because it was Congdon and Moore and
Yep.
shit, I
Yep.
can't remember the third guy. Oh,
That
Griff,
Smitty
Griff.
guy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's exactly it. Yep. So yeah, that was the
Dude,
only course.
dude, me and Rube, we did this we taught this wall reaching class.
Uh-huh.
And we end up with all this like rebar and shards of concrete, and we're like, we got to do a Roebling charge at the end. And we get done, and all we have are those like 2.7 second delays,
Right. Oh, fuck yeah.
right? And we had three of them.
Yeah.
And so we have the whole class go get deflated. We tie three of them together with our little pin gun flare thing,
Did
and
you
we're
count
like,
the pops?
dude, seriously, it was just like Bad Boys. We're like,
Yep.
oh, fuck, you ready? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, let's go. Yeah. And then you're like, you're, you're like, oh shit. And then all of a sudden you hear the third, and we're like diving behind the Humvee,
Yep. Yep.
when then, you know, and we get out and we're like, never do that ever,
Yeah, right. Yeah. Fucking Sean Curry. I don't know if you know Sean Curry. He's over at 25th ID now. I probably shouldn't tell the story because he's, division CSM, but he forgot the fucking on a target. This is a target in our Balad rotation. And he forgot the fucking time fuse and we had a cache. So we did the same thing. It was a fucking huge cache too. And we did that with the fucking goddamn delay. Oh man, it was fucking something. And then you guys, yeah, and then when you guys landed too, you guys were like, "Is there fire coming from there?" And we're like, "No, no, no, it's just munitions." Like, because there were still like fucking munitions popping off and shit.
Honestly, like especially back in the early part of the war, it was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like I
Oh
remember coming into targets and then come like this, and it's so bright, like you're just having to flip up your goggles, and you're like flying just because there's so many fires.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh hell yeah, 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 absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Well,
the
yeah.
stories. I
All
don't even
right.
know how
Well,
I freaking lived, dude. Seriously.
oh dude, I don't know how I fucking lived many of those fucking flights too, man. There was fucking some crazy fucking ones. Well, I definitely want to talk more about this because this is just awesome fucking perspective, because we got both sides of the fence, but you have even a better perspective because you know what the other side of the fence looks like too. But one question I did want to ask, just talking about your career, you talked about, understanding the ground game, and even better. But what was some of the other things that, really you think helped you in the 160th that were foundationally built in the Ranger Regiment?
One, if you were tasked, you go, you do it. Like
Right.
one thing that for me, and it's part compulsions, I don't know, but like I don't know quit, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why my body's destroyed. I mean, fuck, I was doing CrossFit and ultra marathons at the same time. Like, what idiot does that? I was like, I don't know, I could fucking do it. But the thing is like what's beat into you in Ranger Regiment, right?
Yeah.
You just get it done.
Right.
Shut the
Absolutely.
fuck up and get it done,
Yeah.
right? No quit. You know, it's all in the creed, right? So, and it was interesting because the 160th, I think, was like the 160 or the Ranger Regiment version of People in the Air, right?
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
But you know, they were not ready for me. I mean, I was in E6 and Ranger Battalion to lieutenant in 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I showed up to, I showed up, I started smoking people.
Wow.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, hey man, can you take that trash out? Like, yeah, Roger that, sir. I'm like, was talking to this guy. I'm like, hey, you take that trash out? They're like, yeah, Roger that, sir. This was the first day whenever I got to my flight platoon over when I had a company over in Korea called E Company. And the third time, that was it. And I fucking switched on. Listen up, motherfucker, you know. And then, you know, he takes off running. He comes, I'm like lighting this dude up next to me. I'm like, when he comes in, we're gonna put his fucking feet on the fucking wall locker. And he's like, what? You know, like, dude, I didn't know. I didn't know how it worked. And
I
I
grew up
had
in the
no
Ranger
idea.
Regiment in the 90s, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I was overseas in the planning cell. Like, I was one of my first couple. And I'm sitting there, and I remember, you know, I had this little platoon sergeant comes in, and he used to call all the pilots girls. It's like, which one of you girls is gonna fucking fight me? And I'm looking around, and back then it was like when I showed up, most guys in the regiment had been there 15 years.
Yeah.
Most were E5, E6, E7s.
Yeah.
You know, older, just grizzled, just you know.
Yeah.
And here I am. I'm like 29 probably at that point, 28. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I go, well, I guess that's me. And he's like, all right, let's fucking go. And so, you know, I'm like, okay, it's probably a bad choice on your part, but you have no idea. Like, you know, I was in 275. It's where, you know,
Just
jujitsu started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taking my, you know, my belt off, yeah, I got it. I know how it works. And we get on our knees. You ready? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And you remember how you push and you just get them to lean and then you just roll back and you just roll right into the mount and you know underneath the nape of the neck and then as soon as their head comes back and lock that thing in, I put my head right on his forehead like this and he's going. I'm like, not today, motherfucker.
Dude, I just that dude's fucking face like a little butter bar just fucking smoking you. Like,
Dude, it was so fun.
yeah, that's
But
awesome.
you know, it was hilarious too, is because, you know, I'm hugs and punches. Everybody knows me. I'm hugs and punches. It's all in or all out.
Yeah.
Left and right limit, stay inside there, you get hugs. Outside, right? And so it was so fun, but I would get like a free pass because you know, like the older guys liked me because I was piss and vinegar. I
Yeah.
never had anybody like that before because most guys like, you know,
Yeah.
West Point guy or whatever. And I'm like, I was more like an NCO than anything else. And I
Oh.
would just go on people. And I remember he was a ranger. Dude, and that like gave me a free pass to kind of say a whole lot of shit. I mean, honestly, like, I wish I was not my commander because I'd have been like, hey, you need to shut the fuck up. Like,
That's awesome. All right, Dan.
yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna stop us real quick. Hey,
Okay.
everybody, thank you for tuning in. If you want to hear the rest of the episode and the incredible journey of Danny Archer and the 75th Ranger Regiment and 160th stores or SOAR, sorry, I don't know why I said store, then please consider becoming an exclusive member. Easy to find us now. We got the website up and running. It's awesome. There's all kinds of amazing content on there. So go over to legendofthe75th.com. And definitely head over there. You'll see all the podcasts. You'll also see some of the blogs and some of the other exclusive stuff that we have on the website as well.